host, Temple Lester, and I'm here to plug you on all things women in STEM, and today is no different. It's heating up in here, and the forecast is looking really bright. Today, I'm plugging you in with a meteorologist who can even be known as the Beyonce of meteorology. So let's welcome to the stage meteorologist Tonia Michelle Brown.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you on this podcast to finally get a chance to interview and talk to you about what you do.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor. We've been chatting back and forth on Instagram. I've always been following you, and I love what you do to support other young women in STEM. And I'm super honored to be able to share my story to hopefully inspire others.
Thank you so much. All right, so let's just go ahead and get into this interview. I know that you're a meteorologist and people know what that is. We see them on our daily news. We want to know what the forecast is, but tell me, what is it that you really do?
Yeah, so every single day when I go into work, I start with putting my forecast together. So we look at the weather trends, we take into account what season it is, and we basically dumb down the weather so that the general viewer who's not a scientist can understand what's happening in the atmosphere that day and how to best prepare for that, what to wear, exactly like how hot it's going to be, how cold it's going to be, if it's going to rain. So we're the people that most people turn to get that quick forecast so they know exactly how to prepare for the day, for the week, and just when the seasons are going to change as well.
Yeah, I have a love for you all because I look at my weather app every morning or look at the news each morning, try and figure out what should I wear because here in Atlanta, that temperature, we're always changing. It's 80 degrees today, tomorrow will be 50. So who knows? But what type of training do you have to get into or what STEM do you have to know to become a meteorologist?
Yes, so as of for my path, I went to school. I went to Mississippi State University and I got my bachelor's degree in professional meteorology. So essentially, we learned atmospheric sciences. We basically learn what makes the atmosphere work, how it works, and what drives the changes in the atmosphere. So when you understand that foundation, you're able to not only just read radar, but you're also able to detect certain patterns that's happening in the atmosphere to better predict on what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah. So one thing that I'm always questioning, and I know you know about the weather, but how accurate is that weather app that we look at every day? Because sometimes it's not as accurate as we may think.
Yeah, as meteorologists, we like to say 48 hours, we can give you the best prediction on what's going to happen. Outside of 48 hours, things get a little iffy. We use our weather knowledge and we look at trends that are happening in the atmosphere to give you the best prediction as possible. But typically after 48 hours, anything can really happen. Mother Nature does its own thing, but it's always great to look ahead, look at that 7-day forecast, and you can kind of see how those changes are happening in the days ahead. And that also just gives you a better idea of what's going to happen beyond that.
All right, well, that's good to know next time I check my weather.
Yes.
I always was interested when I was younger. We learned about clouds, I think, when we were learning about earth sciences in third grade and learning the different types of clouds. So for me, for that early age, I've always loved science. So what was that piece that really pushed you into STEM and then pushing you specifically into meteorology?
Yeah, so for me, it's a little bit different. I've always loved weather, but most importantly, I love lifestyle. I know that in our lives, we go through so many different storms, and it's so close to what's happening in the weather. I mean, a storm doesn't last forever, neither does the storms in our lives. And it was just that part of it that I was like, man, I can relate everything scientifically with what's happening in everyday life. And I thought it would be a great way to merge not only my career, but also to plant seeds in other people and motivate and encourage people to get through and to fight the storms that they face in their everyday lives. So a little bit of both for me. It came with science, but also with bettering other people.
Yeah. I always talk about where people always say when finding a job, find something that you love and that can interest you outside of just, oh, I have to go to work today. So that's really interesting. And going back to what you were saying about facing challenges and facing adversity, it's a really big thing for women in STEM to not even really be there, for minorities in STEM to also not be in those places. And I always talk about inclusion in STEM. So how do you overcome those challenges that when you face as your job or when you face in life or just being a woman in STEM?
Yeah, for me, it boils down to prayer and my relationship with God. I'm a Christian, and honestly, I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for Him. He opened up every door that I've stepped into and continues to do so, and builds those puts those people in my life like you to just even have a platform to speak about and to share my faith with other people. And that's why I always like to tell people, yeah, there's storms that we face in life, and those storms are very relative to what's happening in the atmosphere as well. And so it's so great when you can merge not just science and tell people about what's happening scientifically, but also give people a little bit of that light that comes from God. And so that's really just what my platform's all about, being able to merge the two. And what was your question again? Now I want to make sure I answer it.
Um, what challenges have you faced as a woman in STEM? Well,
Yeah.
here's an article talking about you overcoming the storm of life. I read this article about you earlier, so can you go into a little bit of that about that?
Yeah, overcoming the storms in life. The challenges that I face is really like you were saying, being a minority, being one of the only people in the room that looked like me, not really knowing where I fit in or where my place was. But I think that being able to break those barriers allows other people that do look like me, other young Black girls, to be able to look up and say, oh my gosh, it's possible. And so it's such a blessing to be able to take on the extra weight, the pressure that comes with being the first in a lot of these different in the career field that I'm in, but also breaking that barrier so that other young people and young Black women that are coming behind me can say, oh my gosh, someone did this before me. I know I'm capable as well. So that's really the biggest challenge that I faced, is just finding my spot and finding my place, and not being or not easily conforming to what is the norm and what people are so used to, but being myself in the process.
Absolutely, I have to agree. I always talk about people don't believe that they can be things if they don't see another person that looks like them doing it. So I encourage them to be that first person to have other people just like you and to inspire. When there is someone out there when you were younger that you didn't have, be that person for somebody else. And that's one thing that I always say. And I find that in a lot of the people like you that I found on social media that are women in STEM and that are changing different ways and changing people's lives. So I know that you say like inspiring young kids. When there's a little girl out there that has that brown skin and that curly hair, and you're the first person that they see looking like you, or they don't see a person looking like themselves in STEM, what is that advice that you give to them?
I just say never give up. That's
Mm,
really what it comes down to. There's going to be hard days, there's going to be good days, great days, but you can't allow those few bad days or really those bad moments to stop you from moving forward. And the whole aspect of fighting the storm is that, hey, when that storm comes, just remember that it's eventually going to pass. And so when you get past it, you're going to be able to look back and say, oh my gosh, I really did just do that. I really did just accomplish something, and allow that fuel to keep you going. And, when things do get hard, don't be afraid to lean on other people. I mean, that's what our support systems are for. Your parents, your grandparents, all those people that you have in your life that are there cheering you on, those close knit people around you. Make sure that that circle is full of people that you want around you and that are supportive of you, and use that as a fuel and as your motivation to keep pushing through those hard moments as well.
yes. Did you have a mentor when you were getting into meteorology or getting into STEM, or just a mentor in life to help guide you?
Absolutely, through every single phase. I mean, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the people that I've met along the way. I say my youth pastor was one of the first people that really poured into me when I didn't even know what next steps I was going to take and what career path I was going to choose. He always told me and my sister, go where you're celebrated, not tolerated. And that was the one thing that I remembered growing up in life. Every single place that I went to, if I felt like I was in a space where people were just tolerating me, I left. And that's how I knew what jobs to take and what decisions to make. If people were excited about me being in the room, that was the room that I knew I needed to be in. So just a little snippet for anyone out there.
That's really great advice. Now, going back to just what you do in general, what is something I always like to ask this question on a random Tuesday? What are you doing at 11 a.m.? Is it after, before you've given the weather report? Are you sitting at home? Are you already back home? Are you in the lounge? What are you doing?
So in my free time, I'm really a boring person. I'm probably working on school. I'm working on my doctorate degree right now. So I'm probably in school, writing papers, reading stuff, or watching some kind of self-help video to keep me motivated and encouraged. And if I'm not doing that, if I'm really, really free, I'm traveling. I love to travel. I'm everywhere, anywhere, all the time. So I love to just explore new places, try new foods, meet new people. And that's where really the reason why I'm here today is because of just the love to explore and try new things. And so that's what's really gotten me so comfortable and realizing that, oh my gosh, there is more out there for me to chase after, and more dreams to fulfill, and more things that I can accomplish, and more people to help too.
There's always people out there. Now, being able to travel a lot, you have to have a lot of free time. Now, do you work traditional hours? What's that flexibility that you have? What time do you have to get up in the morning?
Yeah, so I have a sweet schedule, I have to say. I work 10 to 7, so 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. It's like close enough to a regular day shift, but I also work the weekends. So on the weekends, I work the evenings. I work 2 to 11 p.m. Saturdays and Sundays. So that gives me my morning time. And then I'm off Mondays and Tuesdays, which is kind of beneficial when you're booking flights because there's usually the cheapest flights on Mondays and Tuesdays. So it works out in my favor. So I'm able to still like travel different places. As of recently being in school, there hasn't been a whole lot of free time, but eventually I'll be back there.
What's your favorite place that you've traveled to?
Hawaii, hands down. Yes. Me and my sister during the COVID year, I believe it was 2020 or 2021. Yeah, it was 2021, December. We booked tickets and they were really affordable. And we went to Honolulu, visited Waikiki Beach, and, mahalo, aloha, learned it all, tried all the food, musubi, all that good stuff. It was so great.
Now, how is that weather compared to that weather in Alabama that you're predicting every day?
Oh man, my dad always says if you can't make it to heaven, at least get to Hawaii. Hawaii is like heaven on earth. Literally beautiful, blue water. Everyone's so friendly. They treat the tourists like family. Just so great. I mean, I want to go back.
Take me with you next time. I'll come.
Come on, Temple. Let's go. Girls trip.
Okay. So one last thing that I want to do, I want to play this fun game. And we're going to get into it because it's going to be some things that are going to surprise you. We're going to get deeper into some of those topics. And the game is show and tell.
Okay.
All right. So what's going to happen is I'm going to have a picture pop up and you're going to tell me something about this picture. All right.
Oh my gosh. My first job in news was in Spokane, Washington. It was an interesting job because not only did we cover the eastern portions of the state of Washington, we also had our built-in news station that covered Montana. So I was doing news for 2 states in 1 state.
2 states in 1 state.
Yes.
What was that like having to learn, oh, this is happening in 1 state, not to get them confused when you're telling it to people from 2 different states?
So our shows were completely split. So you knew when you were talking about Montana, and then you knew when you were talking about Washington.
How did you get up to Washington was this straight from Mississippi? Like once you graduated, you went straight to Washington?
Yeah, so COVID had happened once I graduated. Our spring semester of school, we were all sent home. And after I graduated, everyone was like searching for a job, everyone was trying to throw their name out there, figure out what to do, how to get their reels done. So I bought my own green screen, made my reel from my house at home, and I posted it on YouTube, not thinking anyone was going to find me. But the recruiter that worked for the news station up there found my YouTube video, reached out, sent me an email, and I interviewed and I got the job that way. So it was really just like by the grace of God, to be honest. But yeah, just a little bit of work, a little bit of just being different, not allowing my circumstance to control, not allowing my situation to control the circumstance. And so I really just used what I was given and used what I had and tried to make the most of it. And it worked out in my favor. It gave me an opportunity. And from there, it just went up.
Yeah, I always talk about COVID gave me a really good kind of boost with my company. And when I created my STEM box, it was the year before COVID happened, but people were trying to get their kids to do something at home that was still science and still thinking about school. So they ordered my box. So I think COVID really pushed some of us out there and gave a lot of new opportunities as well. I
Yes.
get to through a screen, which we had never thought about before COVID happened. So
That's awesome. Yes, I love that. I want to check out your STEM box too, by the way, but go ahead.
All right, let's get to picture number 2.
Okay. Oh, yes. goodness. Oh my gosh. Okay. So we have a first alert weather watcher, and this is his daughter with the red hair. Her name is Sadie Grace. And so her father, her mom, and herself, they came into the studio for a tour. I was able to show them around and just introduce her to what meteorologists do. Essentially, she was able to get on the green screen, and she was able to get some hands-on experience, and also just to meet me in person was so awesome. But she was so sweet, so eager, and now she watches me every day on TV, and she's like, oh my gosh, I met her in person. So you never know what impact you're going to have on people, and I'm so glad I got to meet Sadie Grace and connect one-on-one with our first alert weather watcher, Tyler Young.
Yes. And it being, or her being a girl, really wanting to see you do this, how is that part of influencing little girls and women to get more into STEM fields that, they know about, but you can really make this an entire career and they don't really know what you do?
Yeah, I just think that children at a very young age need to be introduced to multiple different things so they know what to choose from, or they just know what opportunities are out there for them. So Tyler, shout out to him being an awesome dad, and her mom for being able to, like, just reaching out to me and saying, hey, is it possible that I can introduce my daughter to you and show her the station? It just gives kids another opportunity to see what's possible. I mean, when I was 5 years old, I don't even think I knew what a meteorologist was. So it's so important for us to introduce those different fields to kids and let them know, hey, if you like science, you don't have to be in a lab. If you like science, you can be on TV. You can still be fun and be creative and still use your love for science, and especially like weather, in a different way.
Yeah, absolutely. It's important for kids to learn. I know what I'm always grateful for my parents is that they never really pushed me into something. They let me explore. And that's how I got into STEM, because neither of them are in kind of what you would think as STEM related jobs, although I believe everything is STEM related. None of them, they're not really in those specific careers. So I really thank them for letting me do my own thing.
I love
All
that
right.
too. You're killing it, girl.
Thank you. All right. My last picture for this game of show and tell. Let's get it up here.
Okay, so that's after I graduated college, and I wanted to take my graduation picture, so I went to the beach. I believe it was Hilton Head, yeah, in Savannah, Georgia. Drove to the beach, grabbed my cap and gown, grabbed my camera, had my boyfriend at the time come with me, and we took our graduation pictures.
Yes, so cute. And one thing that I know when I was researching you is that you and your sister both graduated high school at a really, really young age. So could you tell us something about that? I think that's so cool.
Yeah. So looking at that photo too, I didn't even know what was about to come ahead of me. I was really just kind of lost and had just finished school. But yeah, me and my sister, we actually graduated high school with 2 associate's degrees. And that propelled me a lot quicker in my career. I'm 23 years old in my third news market. I finished at Mississippi State at 20, yeah, because 2020 is when COVID happened. So yeah, I finished at Mississippi State in 2 years, got my bachelor's degree, got my master's, finished that at 22, and now working on my doctorate degree. And I'll probably finish with that around like 26. I'm not in a rush, but yeah. So just taking on the opportunity of dual enrollment. The dual enrollment program allows students to take college classes while in high school. And in the state of Georgia, at one point it was free. I know now they have new rules. They limit you like 15 credit hours per semester or something like that. But still, it's a great opportunity for other young women and men to take advantage of. And even if they don't want to go to college, it's a great opportunity to introduce it. If it's paid for, I say, why not? If you pass the class, you not only get the high school credit, but you also get the college credit. And so if you decide to go to college post that, it's just another way to exceed your way through, excel a little bit faster, and also just take little classes here and there to figure out what you're interested in.
So how was your college experience? I know it was probably different from most people's. So can you tell us about that? Get into it.
Yeah, it was so difficult. Oh my goodness. Being 18 years old with all of the seniors, like literally going straight into classes with juniors and seniors, I was playing catch up. And yes, it was difficult. And looking back, I remember just like crying so much and calling home like, Mom, Dad, I can't do this anymore. Because I was thrown into like synoptic meteorology and thermodynamics, the words I had never even heard of, learning all these big equations. But like I said, God put people in my life at that time that we had study groups. There was this one girl that got me through differential equations and calculus 3. And if it wasn't for those people, yes, I mean, you literally, and the one reason that I encourage a lot of people to go to college, because I don't think a lot of people realize that college is one of the biggest networking places in the world that you can go to. It's a one-stop shop to meet people doing anything and everything. Yeah, from your professors to even your classmates and your peers. You don't know what they're going to make about themselves or become after they graduate. So it's such a great place and a fundamental, like that foundation stage of your life to network early. And so you never know who you're going to meet, even if you just try it.
Yeah. I think I always talk about, or my mom always talks about, so I learned from an early age that networking is probably one of the biggest things to get you to the places you want to be, because it's not just, being super smart or being good at what you want to do. It's about having these connections with people who can take you to the next level.
Absolutely. It's not what you know all the time. It's about who you know as well.
As we close out, and I really want to really get into this so you can explain. I'm going to pull the picture up. It's about your book.
Yes. Weather Wonders, Exploring the Skies with Mom. This one's really, really close to heart to me because my two younger cousins were really afraid of the weather. They both live in Georgia. I don't know if you've heard of Griffin, Georgia, but a tornado siren went off this past spring. And after that, they've been terrified of the storms. And so we had a family reunion this past summer and they couldn't make it. The kids couldn't make it, but the mom comes up to me. My cousin Jada was like, Tonia, I wish my daughter was here because I wanted her to actually speak to you. Maybe you could just instill some weather confidence in her. But it was at that moment that I started thinking about what I could do to actually help and what could be long lasting. And I said, Tonia, if you write a book, you can allow her mom to read it to her every time there's bad weather as a comfort, comfort for her, to also instill that weather confidence in her. But not only that, there's weather charts in the back of the book that they can use every single day, even when the weather's nice. So that way it's starting to let kids know that, oh my gosh, weather's not just scary. There's good weather, there's bad weather. And if I'm following it each day, I know when it's bad, that I'll know what to do and I'll know how to prepare for it. And so the whole book is just about instilling that weather confidence in young girls, but also young boys too, and giving them a chance to be introduced to the different types of weather and learning about it. When you know about it, you don't have to be afraid because then you know exactly what's going on.
Absolutely. All about helping our kids out and pushing them, because the next generation is what we need to have more inclusivity in STEM and meteorology and everything. So thank you so much, Tonia. One thing that I get the guests to say before we close out is, I created STEM Girl Swag to show that STEM is cool and fun and girls can do this and be incredible. So what I want you to say to our audience, to everyone out there, I want you to say STEM Girl Swag with all the passion that you have.
Are we doing it on 3? 3, 2, 1. STEM Girl Swag.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining me on this podcast. You're such an incredible person, such an inspiration to me and to other girls and just people in general. Please tell everybody how to find you, where to contact you if they have any questions or just want to talk to you.
Yeah, you can find me on all social media platforms at Tonia Talks, because I do a lot of talking, but not just that. I have so many snippets and information and also just tips and advice to help you #fight the storms in your life every single day. Thank you so much for having me, Temple. This was great.
Thank you so much. Make sure you follow me at Just Temple on Instagram. Subscribe, like, and comment. Tell me what you loved about Tonia. Tell me what you love about STEM, and just follow my STEM journey.